And we are
another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
all right, guys. So I've got a really cool show for you today. I have Max Bonia, outraged teen. So it's at outraged teen. Let me see. Well, I'll type it in the sidebar for you in a minute. and Max, by the way, we're in StreamYard. So if you look on the upper right, you can see comments. And if you click over to the comments, you'll be able to see. So everybody, this is Max. All right. So this guy, I'm in the, because my Chili de Castro live from the dungeon ran over at the Delete Laws channel, I didn't have a whole lot of time to set up the show for you today. So Max is going to email me over a link to one of his videos where he's auditing Gavin Newsom, saying, Gavin, why are you letting these public school teachers and all these doctors mutilate children and giving them giving them money to do that? Do you have anything to say to the parents? This guy is so good. And when I saw that video, I knew I had to have Max on the show. And so this is the second interview. So Max he's an advocate. He is an activist. He fights for parental rights. He fights for kids, and he lives in California. And so Max, go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, so I do live in what people call California, the principal state where DEI is being pushed, where the transgender ideology is being shoved down children's throats. And as Mike will show you today, there's now a law in California where they have to essentially re-educate all these students into not believing the climate change. They can't believe in climate change conspiracies or like J6 stuff or any of that stuff. And so the state is getting heavily involved with educating children, which is, we're going to talk about Brett's video because he's big into homeschooling. And so I'm starting to think that because of what's going on here in my state, that I'm probably going to have to do that too. And when COVID came around, the governor shut down everything. He shut down businesses, schools, churches, and the places that were allowed to be open didn't make sense. Strip clubs and casinos. And I was down there all the time at the Capitol advocating, on behalf of the parents that felt disenfranchised because of that, on the kids that felt disenfranchised because they were being locked out of schools. And that's because, the COVID data was showing that it didn't make sense to keep our youngins out of school, including myself, because we weren't dying. It was less than a 0.01% chance of dying. The chance was so low, and even school shootings are rare. So I'm almost inclined to think that it was much more rare to die from that than it would have been to die from a school shooting. So I don't understand what their logic was there.
Yeah. So BZ's gonna join us. He said, "Tell that millennial to unbutton the top button." That's classic. So
that's funny. Yeah, some people call me millennial. Some people call me a boomer. I love New Balances, so some people call me a boomer. But yeah, it just depends on who you ask.
So so BZ is a former U.S. Marine Force reconnaissance guy, and he's sort of like my Ed McMahon, if you ever watch Johnny Carson. And I'm going to have him join us. So that's BZ. He's driving around in his Uber, and he
doesn't know who Johnny Carson is. Come on, give him something newer, man.
He's got to know.
I don't.
Oh my gosh. Well, Johnny Carson was like this really famous comedian, and he had this sidekick, and they would just kind of joke around, and other people try. So Jay Leno took over for Johnny Carson, just so that's how you would know him. So Jay Leno was like this, like not even a good comedian. I have no idea how he was able to take over.
Even know who Jay Leno is. Come on.
I don't. I really don't.
Even know who Jay Leno is? What?
I know American history, but I'm not very familiar with entertainment kind of stuff.
Man, I really must be old. Holy crap.
Yeah, you've aged a little bit today.
Yeah.
What do you mean aged a little bit? You just turned him into a prehistoric dinosaur.
Jeez. Well, hopefully somebody in here knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. No, I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
All right. So everybody, what I want you to do though, is make sure to like and subscribe all of Max's videos. at Outrage Teen. So right now, if you look at the bottom, it says subscribe to at Outrage Teen. I have it scrolling right down there. It's scrolling around. I want you guys to support Max because he does not have a big YouTube presence. And I want him to get more involved because I want him to come on more as a guest. And you're going to find out why more after we watch Brett's video. And you'll understand why I think Max will be very helpful to the pro-natural law movement, because natural law and natural rights is everything. If we lose that, we completely lose our country. Already, we have the great Leviathan, the WEF, and these other large corporations flooding our country with illegal aliens. They know nothing about our country and the greatness of being Americans. All they know is they're going to get a free phone, a free hotel, and eventually when they get voting rights, if they keep voting for the same people who brought them here, that they'll have everything that they want compared to what they had in their third world country at your expense. And I really want you guys to remember that. Go ahead, BZ. What'd you say?
Hey, I'll subscribe to Max's channel if he lets me cut him high and tight right there, buddy.
Oh, yeah. You know what high and tight is, Max?
No, not sure.
Okay, so in the Marines, you know, when you go in there, they shave your head off, and then your reg cut's going to be 0 to 3. So 0 on the side, 3 max on the top. Only air wingers get 3 max on the top, though. Us grunts, we get finger length, like kind of like mine looks right now. That's a typical. So we're going to do that to you if you want to be part of this team, man. You're going to become a part of the Navy SEAL Force Reconnaissance political community.
We got to train him as a recruit, man. We got to shave off all that hair.
That's right.
I didn't realize, but I have Tucker Carlson hair. I kind of want to.
Yeah,
I know what Tucker Carlson is. There you go.
That's great. So, guys, what I want to do is, so Max and I have a connection through Brett Pike, and Brett Pike is my educator friend, and I want to go ahead and just really quick play the video for you.
Yes.
On his Instagram channel. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. For crying out loud. For crying out loud, you know. Don't you know, yeah?
To teach media literacy to its kids. And Gavin Newsom just signed it into law. The author of the bill says it will protect children from disinformation and misinformation online. In his official statement, he said it will protect your kids from climate change denial, vaccine conspiracy theories, and questioning what happened in January. So what they really mean by media literacy is teaching your kids that truth comes from authority. But what your kids should be learning is that that's an appeal to authority, and they should be studying the logical fallacies. I actually write a fake newspaper and have the students scan our articles for logical fallacies. All the information in the articles is sourced. I love creating these, by the way. And then we have our students evaluate each source and judge its value for themselves. And then we have them fill out discernment charts, what I know and how I know it, what I think and why I think that, and what I heard and where I can look. Because media literacy should be about giving young people the competence to discern truth for themselves. Not that truth comes from these people, and definitely not this guy or the Joker over here. Check out my private homeschool community. The congressionally documented history of fake news, how information is controlled, the corruption of the banking system, rights fundamental to being an American, healthy eating, morality, and more. ClassicalLearner.com. California has a new initiative to teach media literacy to.
So you guys, I just wanted to get the first part because I think we missed it.
Hey, Mike, I have a quick question real quick.
Yeah.
Why can't we do this to all the people that actually watch them frauditor channels and really see where that information really comes from? That would be a great little tidbit, since those frauditors don't even get the right information right half the time anyways. Well,
so, okay, we should do that. But the point Brett was making, and Max, that's why I wanted to have you on, is that Max has seen it especially on the campuses, where you have these administrators, they get to decide what information is, what is true and what is false. They get to decide. And it's almost 99% of the time it's propaganda, and it's geared towards far left progressive stuff that parents don't support. And so that's why I wanted to have Max come on and talk about what he's seen and how Brett's video sort of conforms to Max's experience in the public education system. I mean, we know that the teachers unions, let's face it, guys, teachers unions carry water for the Democrats. Most government employees carry water for the Democrats. Typically. Let's be honest. I mean, let's not lie about it.
No.
I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I used to vote Democrat, but I think the Democrat Party became Marxist. I
Well,
don't
hey,
like that.
well,
Go
most
ahead.
cops are Republicans for the law and order, and they usually hook up with teachers. Is that why they beat the teachers? Because the teachers are so liberal that they don't like them, they just smack them around?
What do you think,
just-
Max? Is that why?
So you're talking about cops
Yeah.
beating teachers?
Cops, no. So what we found out that most cops marry teachers or they marry nurses.
Oh,
Okay. So now he's talking about how teachers sway the liberal and democratic side. Well,
Mhm.
cops are all for law and order Republican side. And so when these two get hitched, you've got a Republican conservative most typically in a same household. Now we've actually got statistics where 2 out of 5 officers beat their wives. I think it's because those 2 out of 5 are probably liberal teachers.
I don't know. See, I don't condone that action, first of all, but I gotta say this. I don't know. I saw this study that came out. I didn't know if it was real or not last year that said that some liberal women have a fetish when it comes to letting MAGA Republicans slay them on political issues.
God.
And so maybe that exists with those teachers. I mean, I have no idea what's going through their head, but maybe they just want a man that can conquer them mentally. I don't know. Just I can understand that though. To be honest, I can.
So let's move. Let's move. So let's
because they don't want to vote for Biden.
So let's move into California's new disinformation law. So this sounds like something right out of a George Orwell novel. All right. This is you have like the Ministry of Information, and then you have you have nothing to fear if you have nothing to hide, yeah. And then you have like all these fact checkers. They're all being paid by the same dude, Zuckerberg or whatever, and we know who he carries water for. So you have at least half the population who doesn't trust the mainstream press anymore. They don't trust the education system or the administrative state. And you see now the administrative state moving full steam ahead to get control of the minds of children, to control their minds. And I wanted to see what Max has to say about that. And because you live at a really different time. Like when we grew up, we took free speech for granted. Now we see things that BZ Watchdog and I took for granted. We see that especially academics trying to say that's hate speech, right? Like it's hate speech to say certain things. And they're using that as a pretext to silence their political opponents, like Trudeau did up in Canada with those truckers, remember? So I just wanted you to talk to us. Tell us about how you feel about that.
Well, it's just really odd, isn't it? One thing I noticed is like sometimes people will be doing TikTok lives, and there was this one girl debating this guy, and she was basically saying, well, what if a neuroscientist came in, and she was obviously a liberal. She said, what if a neuroscientist came in and told everybody that Joe Biden doesn't have a mental disability? Then would everybody believe that? And I was calling her out for her appeal to authority logical fallacy, because that's what that is. She's saying that because one neuroscientist says that Joe Biden doesn't have a mental disability, that makes it true. And that is a total product of our public education system. And I think it was interesting that Brett was breaking down the difference between primary and secondary sources, because not a lot of people know that. For example, let's say a bill's passed in Congress. Thomas Massie is debating somebody else on the floor on the bill, and he sees the bill passing. He reads the legislation for himself. So Thomas Massie is what would be considered the primary source if you're going to report on what happened in Congress. They don't teach this in public schools. The secondary source would be any of the news outlets that try to do their coverage, try to insert their bias, and try to push specific agendas as it relates to that. And that's not something that many people actually look out for. And like Brett says, it's less about what they actually say is a good source, and it's more about the funding. It's more about who are they getting money from. And a lot of these media companies, one thing I've noticed, this is not something that a lot of people like to point out, is that a lot of the reports that they make are just a copy and paste from the Associated Press. They just literally copy and paste the report that the Associated Press makes, and every news media writes the article parroting the exact same things the Associated Press said. And that indicates to me two things. A, the Associated Press must own all these networks, and B, journalism is just lazy and boring. And it used to be good, but we don't have people actually asking the important questions anymore.
Yeah, it seems like so-called journalists are terrified to ask any questions, right, Max? Because they might lose their job.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, George Soros and BlackRock. Go
Right,
ahead, go ahead,
right.
Easy.
Hey,
Right,
as
there are
somebody
certain
who's out
exceptions.
here, who's out here covering stories and
Mhm.
trying to uncover corruption, there's a lot of stuff I haven't put up on my channel yet because I've got one source that's credible because I've got video and audio, but I'm also doing public information requests to see the validity of such such patterns and trying to go with, like like he was saying about primary and secondary sources. A good journalist will always validate two good sources before they run with their story because they could run into trouble. I would rather have more than that, but you can't just take one source and run with it. We've seen too many defamation cases when something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Max, these journalists, they don't look at any sort. They just go to they go to Associated Press, copy and paste, and add a bunch of political propaganda, mix it in there, and that's their story. And it's usually like right.
That's exactly what they do. I mean, I've read Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, Bloomberg, CNN, any sort of business journals, and they're all just almost direct copy and paste of each other. I can verify this because I was doing some research on the recent homeless audit that came out of California, and almost every single news net, including MSN, almost every single news network was writing literally the same exact thing, regurgitating the same facts, the same findings from the audit. I actually read the audit myself, and I think that there were some important things that got missed. I think they made some highlights, but they all made the same highlights. I think they all should have went with different highlights, and even Yahoo was doing the same thing. And so, like I said, there's nothing original these days. Everything's just a copy and paste. Everything is parrot, especially all the local affiliate networks of each individual so-called company that's a part of a big conglomerate anyways. And so there isn't really any true reporting going on. And like you said, Michael, with the exception of a few, many people are afraid to ask questions and confront the people that they should be confronting.
Now, Max, I had a question for you because I know that you have a really high IQ and you have a fast processing speed. And one of the things that I was curious about, I've heard this and I have not done the research, but I've heard that the same guy who owns New York Times also owns Fox News. And I was just wondering, a lot of people say that the whole Fox, CNN, Republican, Democrat paradigm is basically just a uniparty system of controlled opposition. And they're trying to divide us, but in the back room, they're doing the fiat currency thing. They're doing the FISA warrant thing, strip the people of their rights thing, while they're trying to keep us all confused. And I wanted to know if that's something that your generation even thinks about. Is that something that's even on the radar for you guys?
No, that's something that isn't really on the radar for much of us. I don't think a lot of us are paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes. Now, here's the thing. If either Fox or CNN came to me and said, we want to interview you about said issue, I would say absolutely yes. Publicity is publicity. Whoever I get it from, I'm willing to accept it. Be it far left network, far right network, doesn't matter. And I hope people understand that. But you're right. People don't understand how said networks are trying to twist the narratives and push agendas and do all kinds of things, almost like a Hegelian dialectic type deal.
Yeah, and I can tell you've been listening to Brett, and I encourage everybody to listen to Brett. So Brett, I think his handle is @classicallearner, and I believe that I added him in the description. I believe that I added Brett in the description of this video. So it'll say classical learner. I think I added Max @outrage teen. And of course, I think I put BZ Watchdog in there. I pretty much always put him in there. And so I appreciate everybody coming here, by the way, from the other video. What's that, BZ?
Just doing my signature bark.
Oh, I appreciate everybody coming here from the Delete Laws video to come over and spill over to talk to Max. And Max, I don't know if you can see the sidebar, but do you see the people in the sidebar talking? Do you see that?
I do.
Okay.
I see them chatting.
So if anybody has any questions for Max, please ask them, because I want him to be able to come on regularly and provide valuable insight and information from the other generation that most of my viewers are not part of. And to be honest,
I got two
Go ahead.
questions I want to ask real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many subscribers do you have right now?
About 400 on my YouTube.
About 400. Okay. So here's my next question. If we can get you to 1,000, will you let us shave your head?
Oh, shoot. Oh.
I really want that hair. I want that hair.
Oh, man.
That'd make
I'm gonna have to
great
decline. I'm gonna have to decline that offer. My hair's just too special.
Come on, man. That's if we can get you to 1,000.
Yeah, my hair's too special.
You got 600 subscribers to go to think about it.
Well, you'll get me there anyways because I just provide valuable information.
Good
All right,
answer. Good answer.
All right. So the bottom line is I want to bridge the gap between the older and the younger generation, because right now you have a bunch of intermediaries, a bunch of academics who have sort of cut off communication between the wisdom of my generation and sort of cut us off. And these guys like Max need to know that there are people like us who actually think the same way as him, because they're not in his generation. And if we can infuse Max the confidence of knowing that he has the wise men and the wise women of the village on his team, I believe that he will be able to be a force for good and replicate himself. And I want us to be in a position to help Max replicate himself, because Max is one of us. And I believe that if we can, thanks, Jim. I believe that if we can encourage Max and let him know that we support what he supports, that we can, not necessarily like the John Birch Society, but that same sort of, a lot of the stuff the Birchers are about is 100% right on the money, but a newer modern one, where it's about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, natural law, and trying to win over these administrative agencies, try to win over some of these cops and get them on our side, get them supporting natural law. Right, Max? Like, get them on our team.
Yeah, somebody said, have I heard of John Locke? Of course I've heard of John Locke. I've studied John Locke. I love the philosophers that are all about that natural law. And our Constitution is very heavily inspired by John Locke and much of his work. And I wish more people knew about him, but I think that's probably another guy they try to avoid teaching about.
Hey, when are we going to get you out there auditing, dude?
Oh, auditing budgets. What are we talking about here?
Whatever, man. I mean, you don't gotta chase cops to audit. I mean, we've seen Audit Them. He goes into courthouses looking for financial stuff displayed on walls. I mean, he knows what certain stuff is supposed to be. He looks for it. He does an audit. And, just because some of us are more aggressive towards the cops doesn't mean everybody's got to audit the cops. There's so many forms of auditing government, because there's so many entities and officials out there, and a lot of them sit in there long enough, they will end up corrupt. It's just a matter of digging and following the money and gathering your evidence, not just from one source, like I was saying, multiple sources. But when you see the blatant corruption or the lack of procedures and policies they're supposed to be following, that's when you document it and expose it. Yeah. And so I'm just curious, since you, your level of thinking on like the school systems and what they're teaching are a little different. Maybe your thing might be auditing the schools and the school council or the school boards and digging up and finding out where they're coming up with these lesson plans and where they decide, or who decides on what they're going to teach, and maybe look at that official that's the one setting all the policies and rules.
I don't know, BSD. I think Max is doing a pretty good job auditing already, and that's one of the reasons why I brought him on.
I don't know.
But let's go ahead and look at what he's got.
Look at that. You got.
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Governor Newsom?
Do you know what a detransitioner is? Do you know Chloe Cole? At the age of 15, she got her breasts removed and now regrets it because of gender affirmative care.
How are you?
How about the Lodi woman? At 13, she got her breasts removed. Gender affirmative care. No one stopped her. She was mentally unwell.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a.
You can't get a tattoo until you're 18. You can't date until you're 18. You can't go in a tanning salon. But young girls and young boys can get their body parts removed. responsibility, our duty. I'm an attorney. I sent you letters. Thousands of people I represent. Hundreds of kids who haven't been affirmed don't commit suicide. Kids commit suicide 19 times more after having their body parts removed.
Governor, parents have legitimate concerns about their kids being able to medically
Why
transition
don't
at
you
such
talk
a
to
young
us?
age. What do you have to say to those parents? What do you have to say?
So there's.
Hey,
I saw
Mike,
the other video right below it. You
I
looked it
think he
up, and
did-
there's the video of me confronting him again. But it's
I think he did
it's
a-
more to your face type of deal.
Wait,
I
wait,
think he
hold
did
on.
a really good. I think he did a really good job confronting him. I think he could have done better if he would have had a shaved head and a suit on with a pair of sunglasses.
Oh my gosh.
He would have fit right on in.
Yeah. So this is it right here.
Keep watching. It's my
Governor
boy
Newsom,
Max.
the Jacumba area in the state of California.
My boy
is
right
pouring
here,
in with
Max
migrants
Oh
Bonia.
my
every
gosh,
single
man.
day.
Oh.
Mitt
Do you
Romney?
believe that that's a
like Mitt
national
Romney.
security threat to our country?
Down 90% since the National Guard went on the other side of the border. I actually went down and visited. It's down 90%.
I saw that you visited, but are you doing anything as the Biden administration?
Listen again, guys. Listen to what Outrage Teen has to say. I'm very proud of this young man.
Governor Newsom, the Jacumba area in the state of California is pouring in with migrants every single day. Do you believe that that's a national security threat to our country?
Down 90% since the National Guard went on the other side of the border. I actually went down and visited. It's down 90%.
I saw that you visited, but are you doing anything? Is the Biden administration doing anything on the border?
Down 90%.
There's that Senate bill, but that Senate bill, it was all foreign aid. It was foreign aid to Ukraine. It was foreign aid to all these other countries. Governor, you don't care about the American people. Governor Newsom, have them pass H.R. 2. That's a much better bill, Governor. That has nothing to do with the border.
Bitch, get out of his way. Prior restraint. Prior restraint. Get out of the way.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I just love this. This is
Max,
just
you should have
motivates the
had me
crap
there.
out of me.
I would have attacked that girl with verbal judo and get her out of your way, man. I would have been all over that First Amendment violation. Prior
So, Max,
Here's the interesting thing about that not many people saw is his security. They were like linking arm to arm, trying to block the hallway. So even if I got past her, it would have been really hard to get back over there.
So Max, really quick, tell us. We showed 2 videos. I just had to show BZ, like, dude, you think I would have brought some amateur on? This dude is like,
I like it.
dude, this dude is like a little freaking like recon Marine who just got out of SOI. He's
like a little
good,
chihuahua
man.
out of boot camp, man. I like it.
He's killing it, man. He's killing it. I'm telling you, he's good.
No, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, down 90%. Yeah, right. I just saw San Diego airport is full of illegal immigrants. On top of
Okay.
that, you got illegal
You know
immigrants
what?
coming through.
You guess where he was fed that report, though, man? Because he did not come up with that or do the research on
The Biden
his own.
administration.
Exactly.
Directly
Mayorkas.
from them.
And of course, we all know that you can't believe anything that these guys say. It's a total
Can never-
pathological lie.
Never believe anything you read on the internet. We've already established
They're flooding our country with illegal aliens so they can redistrict everything blue using the census. That's the only reason they're bringing them.
Say it
That's
ain't
it.
so.
That's the only reason they're bringing them here. That's
Hey,
it. There's
hey,
no
hey,
other
no
reason.
lie, no lie. Maybe that, I don't know. That woman may eventually want a MAGA Republican to conquer her intellectually. We don't know. That one that came up to me after the fact, we don't know. I Newsom, I'm not falling for your hose. They're gonna
Check this out.
I
I got a new slogan for you, Max. Max, I got a new slogan. The little vanilla wanted some Max Bonilla.
Oh, ouch, ouch. So Max, you got to understand something. Although Max, although I am a jarhead, I surround myself with animals because I am also a Marine, and I don't get along well with most lawyers, so I tend to only hang out with complete savages. So that's my story. And I'm sticking.
Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense.
Anyways, yeah. So Max, okay. Here's the deal.
Oh.
I want to get into video 1
because we're way past that.
Okay, so video one, I want to give it some context. So that woman who was leading you, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, she is a victim of of being transitioned,
So,
is an impressionable young girl, and she had her boobs chopped off.
What?
And she is, I believe, right? I believe that's the case. And that she is now an advocate, and she fights on behalf of parents and children because she knows that this is a fetish. She gets it, and she's out there, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Max. Talk to me.
So it's not her that actually has the issue. It's that she's an attorney representing all those kids that have had those things done to them.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, because I went to her channel based on the name you gave me, or one of the lawyers that you gave
Sure.
me, and it was she was an actual victim and had a mastectomy.
Oh my
And I
God.
thought it
I'm
was
not
her.
aware of any of that. Yeah. As far as I know, she represents those kids.
So what is her name, by the way?
Aaron Friday.
Okay, do me a favor. Somebody in the sidebar, Google Aaron Friday, child parental rights attorney. Because if I'm wrong, I'll eat my hat, because I swear I did research and I believe that she's actually not only an advocate, but a victim, Max. But either way, tell us more about what she does and about how you ended up there. That's what I want the audience to know.
Yeah. So she represents Chloe Cole. That's one of her big clients. She had a double mastectomy when she was 15, I want to say, which is pretty scary. And so that's one of the victims that she ended up citing. And so that's what happened. You know, she's like, well, this girl needs justice. She was allowed to do it in this state. She didn't actually have consent when it came to doing it. And so she's been leading on the forefront of that. She goes on a lot of talk shows. She talks about these issues. But I ended up at this event because I knew it was happening. But then I told everybody that his security detail was going to be there that day because of said event. You know, there was the new assembly speaker being sworn in, which is basically like the state house speaker pretty much. And I knew he was going to be there because it was a longtime ally of his. And so that's when a few people stuck around with me. Most of them had already left, but I waited a couple extra hours just to meet the governor.
That is really impressive. So you ended up there and just happened to tag along and busted out your iPhone. And that is the reason why, guys, I reached out to Max.
Yeah.
Because I said, man, this kid reminds me of me when I was his age, and I want to talk to him.
Yeah, well, I do want to say this. We did have a little bit of interaction off camera. Some things were said, but I will tell you this: I'm glad I pulled out my camera when I pulled it out, because although in the camera I didn't have much interaction. Before he was asking for, we had a guy asking for signature, and he was asking for a pen. He directed himself at me and said, "Do you have a pen? Do you have this? Do you have that?" No, sir, I don't have any of that stuff for you.
Yeah. They got every trick in the book, right, to try to thwart you and prevent you from exercising.
Yeah, no, I told him no, thank you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share with everybody in the sidebar also that there's different types of auditing. It's not just about trying to get a bunch of clicks and views with the cops. Max is a true activist, and he's fighting for your rights, guys. Even though we're older, when I see guys like him, it motivates the crap out of me, and I want to help people like that. And I encourage you to watch Brett Pike's videos as well, because Brett is where I got the idea of creating systems where like-minded people help each other. And we get off this grid of social media of people that hate us with all their Luciferian symbols and their Baphomet stuff. We don't need that crap. I don't want to go to Target and have my kids see that. Do you? Give me a bunch of ones if you guys want statues of Lucifer and Baphomet in front of your Capitol buildings. I mean, really, give me a bunch of twos if you think it's ridiculous. Yeah. What do you have to say about that, Max? I mean, are you seeing that at the college campuses too? Like there's just total disrespect for our traditions.
Yes, completely, 100%. And I'm glad I haven't been converted to a communist after 3 years of college. I will say that. Just got done with my third year on Friday. And I'm as patriotic and pro-Constitution and pro-natural law as they come. A teacher can't really get me out of that, as much as they want to try that with all their tricks up their sleeve. Doesn't matter. I've already read I've read the Communist Manifesto. I know the things from the Communist Playbook, and one of the big things is abolishing the family unit. That's like one of their number one tenets. And these professors are like raging liberal, usually older women that have never had kids. I mean, just crazy stuff.
You know, I've heard that before. Go ahead, BZ. What do you have to say about that? Oh, look at BZ. He's got his little watchdog there.
No, yeah. I got, dude, Brownie's always with me, dude.
That's
He's always
cool.
watching. Hey, just so you guys know, he's always watching my back. Always.
That's great.
So,
So Max, so BZ drives around and he audits cops. So he kind of does what you do with Newsom. But you are like, to me, you're a superstar, dude. I mean, those two videos are rocking. And I encourage, we talked about this on the Delete Laws channel today. Look, I encourage you guys to be holding other public officials accountable besides cops, because remember, the cops are merely following the edicts.
Yeah.
Eric Garner was murdered because of a cigarette tax. That's what it boils down to. Eric Garner in New York was murdered over a Lucy cigarette. And
Wow.
that's
But
it. So he was strangled to death by those cops. Go ahead.
here's what I got to say about that, though, Mike. Even though there may be a tax that's imposed that you don't agree with, it's still the foot soldier enforcers that did the work. Those are the dirty bastards I'm after, so they can't do it to someone else.
Well, I'm not going to question that the henchmen will always be the henchmen, but the masters, like that prosecutor we saw today, who said, "Well, I'm just going to prosecute myself anyways." The lady in New York,
Yeah.
right, Max? Did you see that video, Max? That the prosecutor in New York, she got pulled over for speeding. She decided to drive. She decided to drive home and park her SUV in the garage.
Yeah, I heard about that. So she was getting pulled over and just decided to go all the way home.
And then she bragged about being on the phone with the chief of police.
Maybe you should roll that being footage just so he sees it.
During that
Yeah. I don't have the footage right now.
So hold on. I heard about this. Who is this lady prosecuting?
Nobody but herself.
She is the head district, the elected district attorney, I think, for New York City or something.
So
like
she's prosecuting herself, she said.
Can you say impeachment?
And
Yeah,
so,
no. I'd get a grand jury together and indict her and say, no, you're not prosecuting yourself. We will appoint one for you.
So it's over a traffic infraction, and she was trying to get the cop not to write her a ticket. So it was crazy. And she's saying, "Hey, I'm just gonna get the ticket anyways. You're gonna make me prosecute myself," like giving this cop a hard time. But what I wanted to show, look, if somebody can shoot the link to that video on the sidebar for me, if there's any mods here who can do it, I'd love to show it, because
Hey, Mike,
what I wanted to show you.
I got a question real quick. What if that cop would have just said, "Screw it, I'm already going to get hot water anyways. Might as well have some fun with this." And since she already evaded one charge, and she already had a running from the what do you call it? Running from the what do you call it? Speeding 20 over, so it could be considered reckless. Okay, so reckless driving, evading. Why don't he just slap the torture cuffs on her and take her down to the dungeon and let her feel what it really feels like to be prosecuted? And then see if all her dirty laundry. Hey, Atwater versus City of Lago Vista, 2001. You could be arrested for any infraction. That would be a fun
point. So the point that I was trying to make is that we have these public officials, and she takes her car home, pulls into her garage, tries to hand her cell phone to this cop, saying, "I'm on the phone with your boss," and you see the sense of entitlement. Because she's an academic. She's part of the upper crust, the nobility. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, these people in the administrative state have a major sense of entitlement. Anyone who went to these major institutions, these academic institutions, they think they're better than you. And that's the disconnect that I see. Coming from a blue-collar family myself, having become a lawyer with no formal education, I've seen both sides of the spectrum. And I can tell you that people in the real world think that academics are a-holes and they don't like them. But those are the people who are being bred and placed into positions of power. So we're headed towards destruction. We're putting the police would be law enforcers who want to enforce the Constitution, apparently, and then in charge of them, we put the exact opposite of them. We put the Rainbow Flag Mafia in charge of the police. And then when the police enforce their draconian laws, like a cigarette tax, and they kill someone, these people blame the police or systemic racism, and they have a way out. But it's really the politicians who are the ones who are causing all this calamity and maelstrom. I don't know. What do you think, Max? Do you have anything to say about any of that?
Yeah, well, obviously, police need to be held accountable when it comes to brutality or violence. Although I do understand at the same time, when it comes to their jobs, they're always operating under a lot of stress and high cortisol. And that's just on a day-to-day basis. And so if you do something to piss them off, you're going to F around and find out. I don't care who you are. And so it's just easy to get them. It's just easy to startle them. And that's just how it is. If I don't know what I would be doing if I were a cop, but I know that I'd be under constant duress to the point that if someone's not cooperating with me, well, sometimes it's like you're in the frame of mind as a cop, like it's either me or it's them, just depending on the situation. But some situations can devolve into something very dangerous. So there's that I understand too. And so really, it's important to look at things from on a case by case basis, you know.
Absolutely. So I was not able to click on the link that Chevy sent me, but I think it was a New York DA, right?
Yeah, it was a New York DA. I'm trying to it was kind of upstate, Mike. I'm trying to remember the county. It was on, you know what? Here's the Deal had it on his channel, I think 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I found it. Okay, it's on TMZ. I don't want to show that one. Probably sue me, right?
Probably
for copyright.
Demonetized. Welcome to another rendition of demonetized video.
Okay, so I found the video, guys. Give me 1 second. So
Hey,
Max, I want to play this for you because this is what we're talking about. Just this complete, like, well, we're in the political class, right? Like, we're in the political class, so we get to decide what's important, what what we're going to spoon feed you as information. Let me see if I can find this bad chicken here.
Just real quick, Max. They used to teach these cops 15, 20 years ago how, like, during the interview, they try to make sure on the oral review board when they're having their interviews that these officers had good mind states or state of minds, and that we had proper use of discretion and ask you certain hypothetical questions and answers. They're brainwashing these guys so bad. There is no more discretion. They're no longer able to make a decision on their own. So they're all trained to instantly just do the easiest thing that they can do, which is either beat you up, write you a ticket, or take you to jail. There is no letting you go. It's too much of an ego. Wouldn't you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, probably. So Max, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the video of this officer following this highly entitled elected official home. And this, the reason why I wanted to show this to the audience also, because a lot of you may not have seen this. The point that I'm trying to make with everyone is that elected officials have a sense of entitlement, as do people who work for the government in general. And it used to be that you would get into public service because you wanted to serve. And now we have people getting into politics with no money in their bank account, and they get out with millions of dollars in the bank. And this is a new phenomenon, and it's a real problem. And I want to show you the end result by showing you this video, because this is the result of government gone wild. Government gone wild. This is how it goes. Hopefully you can hear it. Do you guys have sound?
I don't hear anything right now. Oh, now I'm getting something.
55 and a 35. Okay. Can you please come over here? This is on a traffic stop, ma'am.
Yes, it is. You can call Dennis Kohlmeyer right now.
Okay, I'm telling you why I stopped you. You didn't stop at all. Did you not hear my lights or sirens or
No, I
anything?
didn't actually. I was on the phone.
Okay, well, you're not supposed to be on the phone while you're driving either.
Yes, I am with the hands-free. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would have already
Why are you so
arrested
upset at
her.
me? I'm doing my job.
Hold on.
You just
Max, talk to us. Talk to us.
Yeah, I would have already arrested her at that point. If she didn't stop for me, I would have already taken her in cuffs to the department.
So do you think that he knew that she was a DA and that's why he didn't like?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know. For me, the voice just sounded like he seemed ignorant of who the DA was.
Okay.
It seemed like he didn't know, but that he was just trying to ask her questions like, "Hey, what's this about? You must have seen my signal to pull over and you still didn't. So what's happening?" Sometimes cops will take a minute to ask you questions before you just put them in cuffs. But I would have said, no questions needed. I know you saw me. I know you heard me. You're going to jail.
Okay, so one thing, because I know BZ is going to want to pipe in a second, but I wanted to just throw this out here. One of the things that I want the audience and you also, Max, to pay attention to is she seems kind of like she's messed up. Like maybe she's high. She seems high to me. But yet, look to see, does the cop ever ask her if she's drunk or high or even like say you smell like alcohol? Because I would certainly assume that this chick is messed up. Too many cocktails at lunch. Keep watching, guys, because I want you to see the way that the government takes care of their own and why that's a bad thing, because we pay for this. We're paying for our own destruction by letting people like this be in power. Just watch the rest of this.
admitted to me that you were going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road.
It's
Officer Christopher, can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a traffic. This is a legal traffic stop. Do you have your ID?
No, it's in my purse. Here.
You have your purse right there.
No, this is my lunch. Would you talk to Dennis? This is ridiculous.
No, this is my lunch.
Hello, sir. Good, ma'am. Can you please stay at the back? This is a
Hey, wait a minute, ladies. Is that a Gucci bag that she has her lunch in? I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And this is legal traffic stop. Can you please stay over here,
No. Hey, baby, get your little guy out of here.
sir?
Aww.
I stopped her for going 55 and a 35 on Phillips Road, and she failed to stop. She drove all the way back home and parked in her garage. And now she's not complying with any of my commands. Ma'am, do not go inside.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I loved how he just mocked her voice.
Right.
Ma'am, come outside.
No, that was
You
me.
can't just go
That
inside.
was
This
me.
is a traffic stop.
Oh.
Here's your phone back.
I understand the law better than you. Would you just
953.
You
Can
can
you have
leave
a
me alone.
supervisor come to the scene?
No. Get out of here.
She's saying, I understand, but I don't
I
give
don't know
it.
why. I don't know why you're acting like this towards me.
Because
Can you please go to the back of the vehicle?
I'm not going to. I'm home.
Okay, so really quick. So Max, you made a comment earlier, and I'm with you. Like if I'm a cop, I'm body slamming her like the guy the other day did to the young 18-year-old girl. It's all over YouTube, right? Like he's inside of her garage trying to reason with her, you know. So
Well,
I put it in the comments, guys. Do you think that's because she has an expensive car, she has an expensive house, or do you think he ran her plates and knew that she was the DA? Do you think he already?
I'm telling you right now, anybody who runs from the cops is getting slammed or at gunpoint. So the fact that she pulled in and he's reasoning with her right now says that he's already got her plates. They've come back and he already knows who she is.
Okay, so BZ thinks that he already knows who she is. So here's what I have to say.
And I think she's drunk because she sounds drunk.
Here's what I have to say, and I want to hear what Max has to say too. But Max, you know that law enforcement officers have different license plates, right? And so do DAs. You know that, right?
No, you know what? I should have known that.
Okay, so now you know. Law enforcement officers, at least in California, as well as DAs, as far as I know, have license plates. And the way the numbers are arranged, other law enforcement officers and cops know that is likely a cop or a law enforcement personnel in that vehicle.
It's crazy how, well, obviously our federal law enforcement, usually they don't operate in vehicles like that, like our local law enforcement does. And usually their cars don't have a license plate. So
but their personal vehicle, their POV, they call it a POV, is going to have a plate that identifies them as law enforcement. Why? Because because even without running their plates, you'll know that person has something to do with the government. What I'm getting at for the audience, as well as you, Max, is a lawyer, is a trained attorney. I can see there's bias here. I can see that this cop, any other cop would have freaking rammed her, would have done a pit maneuver and pulled that SUV over. Instead, he allows this woman to pull her vehicle into her garage, right? Now she has cover and concealment. No academy would ever allow an officer to do what he did. So, Max, I want to know what you have to say about that after all the stuff you just heard.
Yeah, I mean, so people, I mean, I've heard it. I've heard the accusations of people would say that I'm being a tyrannical cop if I immediately just arrest her and tell her that we need to take her over to the department. But that's just the reality. There's something called, you know, if you fail to stop for a law enforcement officer, that's a misdemeanor in California. I'm sure New York has a similar law. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure they do. And so at that point, I'm just enforcing the law. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to be tyrannical. I've seen enough. You're under arrest. Yeah, it's a misdemeanor. Sorry, you're not above the law.
Yeah, well, I think me and BZ agree with you, of course, brother. I just wanted to see what you had to say about that, because now you have a better understanding, having attended this hearing that we've done today online about license plates and about preferential treatment, which Let's OTVO is talking about in the sidebar. So there's all kinds of video out there about cops, oh, he's a cop, they'll come up and they'll ask him, oh, can you please give me your gun? But, if it was a civilian, you'd already be filled with 30 holes. And that's the problem that I have, is that we've strayed so far from the Bill of Rights and our founding fathers that sovereignty lies with the people. And now sovereignty just lies with public employees and government officials in the administrative state. And we're literally being forced to pay for these people who hate us, who treat us with contempt. And so the younger generation, Max, we're counting on you. And that's why you're here today. So I want you to tell us what you're going to do to make the world a better place for our kids and how you're going to help us.
Well, I think if they're going to put us under the tyrannical laws, they got to put themselves under the tyrannical laws. So we got to have no exceptions. And one thing I noticed is the cronyism just gets crazy. There needs to be like a break time. I don't know, whatever they call it, but a cool down time between being able to be a politician and jumping to being a lobbyist, because so many congressional members and staffers play ball. They all do what their lobbyists and the people that are giving them money tell them to do, and then they end up going into that sector once they're done on the public end. And so we need to have, I would say, it would be nice to have a congressionally mandated 5-year cool down. And I've heard people object to that, saying, well, that's a free speech violation, but you want to minimize the corruption, you've got to do that. And if you know the First Amendment well enough, you know that free speech is not completely absolute. Like, I'm for free speech as much as we can have it, but you can't shout fire in a theater. You can't threaten public officials. This is just kind of basic stuff. And so that would be one of the things that I think would get factored into that. Another thing is we got to stop letting foreign countries buy our farmland. It's ridiculous. We're letting China buy our farmland near these military bases where they're now spying on us. We got to have a policy against that. Human traffickers, absolutely awful people. The people that are facilitating, the illegal transfer of humans even across our border, they need to be held responsible, and I think perhaps need to be put to death even. And I say this, and I don't say that lightly. And then we have plenty of issues that we've got to deal with. We've got to invest in infrastructure in the United States of America. We need to stop these foreign wars. We need to stop sending foreign money we need to stop sending money in so-called foreign aid, such a sham, by the way, to these countries where these congressmen, where they have funding, they have money, they have bank accounts, they have investment accounts. And this is where they're just enriching themselves at that point. And only the American flag, and when I say this, only the American flag should be allowed to be waved on the House floor or Senate floor. We should have absolutely no foreign flag waved on our House or Senate floor, because what that does is it signals an invasion. That is an invasion into our country. And I think we got to end dual citizenship too in Congress. I like the idea is And that's for any country, be it an ally or an enemy. There should be no dual citizenship. I don't care if you're a dual citizen of one of our greatest allies, but if you're going to serve America, you have to be America first. And you prove that by only being an American citizen. Because to me, having dual citizenship just looks like split allegiance. I don't care if you're a dual citizen of an African country, a European country, an Asian country, a Middle Eastern country. So we need to just have standards, and that's not what we have right now.
Man, you are so right on the money, buddy. So it's getting a little late, and I don't want to bore people. I know it's Sunday also, so we only have like a peak of about 33 people in here, so it's not like super amazing. But Max, we've got 33 people here, and most of them stayed, and that's unusual. So that tells me that there's 33 new people who like you, and I want to have you back on, and I want to have you back on to talk more about your first video and your second video that you did with Newsom. And then I want to talk about ways that maybe my people can help coordinate and fund some of your next audits of Gavin Newsom and other politicians, because you do a great job. What do you have to say about that?
Absolutely. So on the funding side, I usually don't ask for money. I ask for shares. But now that I'm asking, now that we are getting into the funding side of things, it's not cheap to go place to place, to use my car, even all these flights that I'm booking to go to all these speaking engagements to let people know what's happening. So if you want to help me, you can go to my Instagram or YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube. First of all, that is the way to help me. I'm still getting a Patreon set up. Although you can pay me on PayPal if that's what you want to do, if that's what you're interested in. I'm on PayPal. My name is long on PayPal, so just bear with me.
I can put it in the description too. Also,
it's Maximiliano B 1405@gmail.com. That's my PayPal. So if you want to contribute, there's that too. So there's that, and then there's subscribing to YouTube, and both of those would be much appreciated. Thank you, Michael, for supporting this work, and thank you all for supporting this work.
Yeah, and I don't want to look like I'm like a lot of people will say like a grifter or whatever. So let me explain something, guys. I'm a lawyer by trade. That's what I do, is my profession. But I'm also an activist, and I have 2 kids, and I want to leave the world a better place. And I know that I'm getting old, and sometimes I run across rare gems like Max and Brett Pike, people who love their country and put country first. And when I meet people like that, I want to help them. And I'm not being paid for this. I'm not getting anything out of this. The only thing I've ever gotten from any of you guys is a super chat, and that's it. That's it. And I've never asked for anything, but I am asking for something now, that you support and rally behind Max and Brett Pike and other people like him, because we are in dire straits, people. We are in real trouble. The minds of our youth are being destroyed. Luciferian influence is absolutely dominating our society, and we are in real trouble, and we need to stand up and fight back and fight for right and freedom and to do the right thing. And guys like Max, he's got a lot of gusto in him, and I believe that Max is the next generation of freedom fighters, and we need to rally around him. And now, Max, I want to give you a little bit of an open forum here to talk about things that matter to you, and just tell people what matters to you, and give them your Instagram, your Facebook, and your other channels. Tell them how they can find you.
Yeah, so my Instagram channel is Outrage Teen. You see it below, subscribe to Outrage Teen. That's my channel on every platform. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, now called X. You name it. Any platform that you go on, you're going to find me at that same handle. Threads, Truth, all of it. I'm on all of it, and I try to keep it consistent, and I try to keep everything real and legit, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about and that they're not educated about. But one thing I care about is racial discrimination. That's a big issue too, on our college campuses. And it's through reverse racism now. There's something called affirmative action, which prioritizes Latino and Black students, particularly Black students, moves them to the front of the line. So, and then they're also trying to discriminate against higher income students that want to be just as well off as their parents and build generational wealth just like their parents did. So, schools are getting into the practice of admitting either low income or minorities or both, and prioritizing them much more than they are the other races. And I think affirmative action is completely racist. There was a case involving Harvard recently. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It was a Supreme Court case, and obviously the Supreme Court has struck down affirmative action numerous times. They did it last year, back in the summer. And then there's also plenty of propositions in California. Prop 209, people said affirmative action's a no-go. Prop 16, again, affirmative action's a no-go. So a lot of the most liberal people even are not supporting this. And we just can't have that. Everybody's got to be on equal ground. Everything has to be based on merit. And if we're truly living in a free society, we have to be in a meritocracy. We can't be in a society that prioritizes one person over another, one group over another because of their skin color.
I agree with you. And Ayn Rand said that you can never support the minorities until you first support the individual. Our Republican form of government is based upon individual rights. And until you respect the rights of the one, you can never support the rights of the minority, because the minority is the mob to the one. The one is what matters. And that's why everyone should be bound by the chains of the Constitution. What do you have to say about that, Max?
Everybody should be bound by that. It's the founding document. All right. And, allegedly, according to some people, you have U.S. Incorporated. Our document should not be a corporate charter that's limited to 10 miles in D.C. Our document should be a document that's spread all throughout the United States of America, from the Washington Monument all the way down to Capitola, Santa Cruz in California. All throughout that span of the country, our constitutional rights should be respected on the municipal, state, and federal levels. And right now we're at an unprecedented time where they're not. And just like that law that passed in California, which we just talked about, where you're not allowed to believe in conspiracies, you're not allowed to believe in this or that, like the government is some sort of thought police. They're even doing that in New York. California, Oregon, and New York are the three petri dish states for the rest of the nation. And what they pass over here, they're going to take it all the way over there to DC. It's only a matter of time. They're trying to get rid of independent contractors. They're trying to get rid of people's freedom to work, freedom to move around, freedom to choose even fertilization treatments. I mean, just all kinds of different things that really, regardless of where you're at morally, religiously, should be up to people to do that in a true constitutional republic. As long as you're not harming another person, you do what you like.
Max, tell us again how old you are, just because I want people to have some faith that we still have a chance.
So just turn 19.
Guys, listen to this guy. I mean, this guy's legit. Please support Max Bonia at Outrage Teen. This guy is, in my opinion, he could be the next governor of California. Honestly, I really do. Look, I've called this guy before, and he's not available because he's in church. Now, I am a big-time natural law theorist. St. Thomas Aquinas said we need to have people in power who are better than us. Guys, think about that. Try to put people in power who are better than you, people that you trust, people that you would trust to babysit your kids. I don't think you'll ever hear Max Bonia say that little kids like to rub the hair on his legs on a news story. What do you think, Max? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I will never say that. I will never say that. I will say I don't mind if vanilla falls for Bonilla, but I don't want kids rubbing my legs. Thank you very much.
And by the way, I don't want to exclude BZ Watchdog. It's just, you got to understand, BZ's used to rousting people, and you're not even a recruit yet. So I don't want to scare you off. But BZ, dude, am I right? Did you see that audit? I mean, Gavin Newsom, dude. Have you ever audited a high government official before? This dude audited Gavin Newsom, and he wasn't even, I think, 19 at the time.
No, I was like barely 18. I think it was barely, 18 in like 4 months or something like that.
I think he might have a fare because he's I think he's on mute. We can't hear you, BZ, if you are talking to us.
Oh boy.
Yeah, something's wrong. He's probably got a fare.
Yeah, inaudible. Gavin Newsom censored him.
Yeah, he's not on mute, but yeah, Gavin Newsom probably didn't like him. So the cool thing, Max, is so I'm licensed to practice law in Texas and California. So, I love Texas way more than California just because the way they are. I'm all about the Second Amendment, And the right of secession is always a nice sounding thing to me when I see a bunch of crazy people trying to tell my son that he needs to be wearing a dress. That's a problem.
Mhm.
for
Hey,
me.
can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We sure can.
Damn, my man.
Well,
I didn't have the live stream muted. I had my damn Bluetooth muted that whole time. I've been over here
It's all
talking
right.
for like 10 minutes trying to get a word in.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
So
Well,
what
talk to us.
So what I wanted to say is, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not rousing him. He's actually doing a good job. What I am saying though is he doesn't realize that we've had affirmative action and equal opportunity since the 90s. So that was before he was born. I think he's just now learning about it because his eyes are
Oh, no,
open.
he knows.
No,
He knows.
No, I'm aware. Yeah, go ahead.
But I want you to do this real quick though, Max, because I'm about ready to pick up another fare. I want you to go ahead and email me and they'll drop it in the link. It's bzwatchdog@gmail.com. I might be able to help you out with some funding from some back behind the scenes funding that I do for auditors and stuff that isn't really publicized because it comes from individual donors. But reach out to me and I'll let him know what you got going on. And if he's willing to, sponsor the cause a little bit, then we'll get you hooked up with a little bit of money to kind of keep the efforts going like he's doing with me.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, and you're right. Affirmative action has been an issue since the 90s, which is why when California passed Prop 209, it was all the way back in the 90s that we did that, because that's when universities were truly starting to discriminate against students who were lighter skinned. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So Max, that's another question that I had. So let me try to get us all on here. So Max, this whole critical race theory thing, they also call it intersectionalism. When they first rolled it out, the media, corporate media came out and said, oh, they're not teaching critical race theory in schools. You're full of it. They don't want to teach that. And now, like last month or a couple of months back, the NEA came out, the head's like, we got to be teaching that critical race theory. You know what I'm saying? Like pushing it really hard. Right. And I'm just like, it just always amazes me how they always lie and say, this isn't really what we want. But then once they push it out and they get the news media on board, right. They get Antifa to go out there and shut down the parents. Right. Because that's what they do. They send Antifa out to silence anybody who opposes anything the state wants. Antifa goes to silence them. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of the protests just aren't organic, right? And so many people like to quickly point to George Soros, and I have no problem with that. He's an interesting, weird guy. I mean, he's a nice supervillain to admire. The fact that he funds these district attorneys and funds these protesters, right? But there are a bunch of other funding sources besides George Soros that go into all these mass protests that are not organic, that are happening, even at these universities, just all over the place. And Antifa is even one of the groups that gets deployed and they get paid. And in California, there's been stuff about student activists being paid by some of these far left groups. So it's not just George Soros. There are plenty of other rich dudes who want to pay to get people to cause an uprising and to cause a scene if someone's stepping out of line with their agenda or, causing some sort of disruption to the liberal, let's just say anarchic justice system, whatever it may be. That's where they're sending the folks. They are literally giving them money. They're paying for their lodging, I'm sure, and they're deploying them. It's almost like a citizen army, right? I mean, but it's interesting because the Second Amendment allows for a militia. So it's almost like they're paid militias getting sent out by some of these liberal billionaires.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't really think they're liberals. These are leftists. Hayek was a liberal. Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. These were true progressives. Yeah. These people that you call liberals now, these are radical leftists who are mainly atheists, and they hate everything about America, and they want to destroy us.
I like true liberalism, but what we're seeing right now is not true liberalism. And so what you now classify as a liberal is not liberal. I agree.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So really quick, guys. So we're about an hour and 8 minutes in, and Max, we have carried about 30 people average throughout the whole chat, which is really good. That tells me that at least there's 30 motivated people who believe in you. And I got Sammy said, Sammy Amrani is saying I guess he wants to know your channel and that Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's Outrage Teen here on YouTube. If you just type that in, you'll find me. I'm in a red hat that says truth on it. It's literally a picture that looks just like me.
Okay, and now also, so Max, Sammy cautioned me and BZ several times to shut up and let Max talk. So, and I agree, because, dude, I'm telling you, bro, like, I've been around. I think that you are a gifted guy, and I think that you will be. You're going to be something amazing for this country. And give me a bunch of ones, guys, if you think that Max is a gifted guy who could lead, who could be a good leader for our country. And then number 2, Sammy, please ask any questions in the sidebar that you want Max to talk about. And then BZ and I promise not to say anything so Max can talk. Just ask me. Thank you for the ones, Jessica. Thanks, you, Neeker, for the ones. You guys rock, man.
When he said he has hair, I know so many people just love my hair. They love to, yeah.
Hey, whatever, man. Whatever makes you noticeable and build your brand, that's fine with me, brother.
Appreciate that.
Now, Sammy, ask a question in the sidebar that you want to know from Max. I've got him here, because I got to tell you guys, from the first interview till now, I think it took several months for me to convince him to come on, because this guy is becoming a force to be reckoned with. So please ask questions now. Please ask questions now, because if not, I'm going to close this out, because I got to teach my son for his yellow belt for judo. I got to teach him all the Japanese words, the movements. So, but if people have questions, okay, Sammy, boom, here we go. What's the remedy to get out of the system? Well, do you know the answer to that one, Max?
You got to kind of start small. I mean, I'm on a residential property in a suburban area, so it's kind of going to start with doing a small garden. I mean, that's like the bare minimum. So gonna get that going very, very soon. So if you haven't already, get that going. If you got some land, you can definitely do some more. That's a good idea. If you live somewhere where there's a well, take advantage of a well. If there's, just find whatever ways you can to get off the grid. I think that the food and the water situation probably is like the most, they're two of the most important things probably for me. And find a way to become less I'd say addicted to technology. And I have a technology, sometimes I'm on it because I have social media and stuff and whatnot. But if you're not on social media because you're not like a big influencer or whatever, just find ways to get outside. Maybe try going camping, try different things that will help you if you have to end up in a forest for a little bit.
Well, Max, I appreciate that. And BZ, Watchdog, and Max both. So Max supports homesteading, just so you know, BZ. And I think, and by the way, BZ his mic keeps going on and off. But
it's because I'm just trying to be quiet so he can speak.
Oh, so Max supports homesteading and,
absolutely,
and homeschooling. And what he's saying is the best way to get off the grid is get your garden started first. Now, listen closely, guys, because what is the government trying to do? They're saying, oh, you can't have a garden, you can't collect rainwater, and if you do, you're going to increase the carbon footprint. But so, Max, really quick, tell us what you think the real reason is behind that.
Carbon dioxide makes up about 1% of what's in the air. All right. You've got carbon dioxide, you've got nitrogen, and you've got oxygen. And carbon dioxide, it's less than 1% of what's in the air. So to make a big deal of it as if, oh, the Earth's heating up, these humans are farting every day, methane gas, these cows, you can't eat any more steak. It's just one big agenda to shift us off the protein, to try to make an excuse for eugenicist type practices. The more and more that they push this, the more and more they're going to convince people that we need to keep the population down just to survive. And that includes avoiding the apocalypse. If we kill a few humans here and there, we're going to avoid the apocalypse within the next 5 years. I promise you, everybody. These climate activists have said for years and years that the doomsday was coming. Greta Thunberg took to Twitter, and she's controlled by the far left billionaires, like I've said before. And she took to Twitter like at 2018 and said in like 4 years, everything's going to be gone. 5 years, everything's going to be gone. Just shut the hell up. That's my answer. Shut the hell up. Somebody's got to deal with her.
Right on, Max. And really quick, because you and I have had some really great conversations these last couple of days. You can see it says, is getting a birth certificate turned to live birth the way to go? Well, I think we know that. How did the Amish do it? How did the true Mormons do it? They record their birth in their family Bible, don't they?
I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think they get birth certificates though. I'm assuming they don't, because they're totally off grid. But if you want one, go get one. If you don't get one. That's my answer. I've got one because I want to be a little bit in the system to work, to have an EIN, to be able to pay taxes, to run for whatever, to do all these basic things that you can't do if you don't have those kinds of things. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but there are definitely perks that come with having the birth certificate. So really, I think if we live in a truly free country, again, it should be up to you. Do what you want. If you want a total home birth, don't want to make that registration, I guess that's up to you. I'm no anti-government man, because I'm not an anarchist. I don't support anarchy, but I'm also supporting the freedom of people, and I'm also in support of the freedom of people in this republic. So I believe in government, just very limited government.
Amen. And everybody, that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you, is that we don't all have to agree 100% on everything, but we should all agree on the main things that matter. And that's why I love listening to guys like Max. Like, for example, Shock Prof put, your name is a corporation. It's not yours. It's all a fiction. And Max, we'll talk about this in future episodes, because Max and I went around about this very same thing the other night, Shock Prof. I really encourage everybody to add @OutrageTeen to their channel and subscribe and start, supporting him and asking him to come back on, because I want to have him come back on more. But if you're not encouraging him, he's going to run off with, one of these academics, and we're going to lose him. So we got to encourage him, guys. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, no, not anytime soon. But I know that there's that whole sovereign citizen movement. Now, let me tell you, with the government as tyrannical as ours, I don't think they really care if you're a sovereign citizen or not. I don't think there's really any sovereignty. You can try and get off the system and try to not have a birth certificate and try to re-register as a U.S. national. I really don't think that they care. But again, like I said, it's your choice. You get to do what you want to do. This is a free country. I prefer to stay in the status that I'm at. People are going to have debates about that, and that's totally fine. And let's have those discussions for sure. But as of now, I'm going to remain the way that I am. And I'm just going to keep working at it and fighting for justice for both U.S. citizens. And I suppose now that we're running across U.S. nationals as well.
Well, I appreciate all your time and all your effort in trying to make America a better place. And I appreciate you helping us break down Brett Pike's video tonight.
Yeah. They're saying they can't find me. That's odd. They're saying they can't find me on YouTube here. That's a little bit that's odd. Here, let me see if I can remedy that. So
Outraged Teen, it should be there.
It should.
Am I spelling it right there at the bottom on the scroll where it says Outraged Teen?
Let me help you guys out right now and see what the issue might be. It's just @OutrageTeen, no spaces, no nothing. And then the name is Max Bonia. The name is M-A. If you want to try my name. You can probably see it on here. The first name is M-A-X. The last name is B-O-N-I-L-L-A. You should be able to find it just fine. So if you're having issues, let us know. But I think that's where you should be able to find me and be able to keep up with me all the time.
So
that's the plan, at least.
Okay, Gloria. Ad says, I can't, I'm looking. So I'm going to look too, Max. Just to make sure.
My name here, my name on the left-hand side that you see, try that and see if something comes up. And it should show Outrage Teen underneath it once you look it up.
So I've got it right here. I'm going to put this up on my screen because this is kind of a big deal. Because I'll be honest with you guys. Look, if any of you have any respect for me at all, you'll know that I do my research. I mean, this guy is good, and I want you to follow him. So just bear with me really quick and take a look.
That should be it right there. Oh, good. Yeah. I had to clean that channel up a little bit, but yeah, as you can see, I've got some stuff on there for you. that you might like.
So at Outrage Teen, see that, guys, right there. Give me a bunch of ones if you're able to find his channel. Give me a bunch of twos if you still can't. Now, Max, I want to introduce you to some of the core supporters who are going to probably back you up. So Jim Duthit definitely is going to be one of your guys. The other one is going to be, so this is Jim right here. I guarantee you this guy's going to support you. And once you get monetized, I know that between him and his friends, they'll help fund your flights or whatever you need to do. This other guy here, Chevy's legit. He's tight with delete laws and Chile. This is another person who will be able to help you and people that will have your back. When you need a couch to sleep on, these are the kind of guys that will be there for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And a lot of the other guys here too, but I don't want to give out names until I know for sure that they will do it. So really quick, BZ is on mute. I want him to say what he needs to say, and then I'm going to go ahead and close this out.
I'm still here, guys. You know me, doing a little recon mission. I'm just going to let you guys know I've been out here 13 hours. That's how long this roving patrol's been today, man. 13 hours, and I still going to be out here for the next hour or so because it's already dark. This is when the cockroaches like to come out. I'm just the good old light switch with the light going on and catching them. So with that being said, man, I'm good to go. I appreciate Max. Max, reach out to me on my email, bzwatchdog@gmail.com. That way I don't forget to subscribe and maybe help you out with maybe a little funding on the back channels. I don't do that for everyone. There's only very select people I do that for. But you seem like you're fighting the right fight, as Let's OTV always says. Rick Jonesy, those are my boys. Shout out to y'all. And with that being said, I'm pretty much done, Mike.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You never know. Sometimes, you'll run across a cop pulling a gun on someone and we get some good footage. But now everybody in the channel, take a look at Max. Max is an actual auditor who audits politicians, the ones who tell the cops what to do. And he's a young guy. And I want you to start thinking outside the box. Maybe you should start trying to emulate Max, because sometimes these young trendsetters are onto something. And you can see Newsom's face. He turns pasty white every time he sees Max. So that's always fun to see. So Max, unless you got something to say goodbye to these guys, say goodbye to everyone, and tell them you're going to come back so we can talk again. Oh, hold on. Max, you're on mute, buddy.
Oh, I was going to say, love you guys. Hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much for the support. I hope to have you back over here. It's been a tremendous night. Check out my YouTube channel. There's definitely a lot of stuff to emulate. By the way, that time I did go after the governor, one of his California Highway Patrol officers elbowed me in the stomach. So I got to feel what it was like to be elbowed in the stomach by law enforcement. That was amazing. Probably the most amazing feeling I've ever had, fighting for freedom. And let's just do it. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this.
All right. Well, Max, hold on a minute. BZ and I are going to look at the statute of limitations issues, but that's a battery. So we might have to sue. So I'm glad you told me about that.
I'm not going to bring anything. I'm totally fine.
Give me a bunch of ones if you think Max should sue the CHP for battery. Max, if they give me a bunch of ones, will you reconsider?
No, I won't. I'm pretty merciful, gracious guy. I'm a very gracious guy.
That's cool. I appreciate that. I'm kind of messing with you.
Now, if you slam me to the floor, it might be a little bit different story.
Well, you're getting a bunch of ones anyway. So, hey, guys, subscribe to Max's channel. Make sure to subscribe to BZ Watchdog always. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel as well. Make sure to go to the Delete Laws channel and check out my post-Chile interview that I did today. You know that I visit him at least once a week in the jail. So check out the interview that I did over there. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And when I say save, I mean record it, because when the thought police take down this channel, we're done. But also press the save button, because that pushes it up higher in the search results. So anyway, Semper Fi, do or die. I'm so grateful that Max came on. Now, everybody else, go to Classical Learner, talk to Brett Pike and say, hey, dude, come on for an interview. We want to hear what you have to say. We saw your video today. We want you on as a guest. So Classical Learner, Brett Pike, check out his videos and tell him we want to have him on as a guest. Semper Fi, do or die. We're out of here. Boom.